has a special way of doing it, by the way.
He does? And we're just finding this out?
Okay, you ready? Brittany? Oh, is it on? Okay, welcome, everyone. Today is September 19th, 2023. We are located at the county building on the 3rd floor in the council's chambers. The current time is 7:12 p.m. We welcome everyone here. We have down here Pledge Allegiance, and we'd ask everybody to participate in that, and that'll be led by Colin Winchester. Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Make sure we do it correctly. You know how to, you want to tell people how to do it right, Colin. This is actually,
I'm not going to be that guy.
oh, it's really important.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I did it the right way, Colin.
Thank you, Colin. As far as roll call, we have our Nikki from the clerk's office. Thank you for being here, Nikki. From the county manager's office, we have Brittany Lopez, assistant county manager, and Andy Welch, county manager. From the council's office, or from the council, we have Councilman Wardle, Councilman Hamner, Councilman Strungberg, Councilman Hoffman, and Councilman Thomas. From the county attorney's office, we have Scott Broadhead. Thank you for being here. And we recognize that there are many department heads and elected officials in the audience today. Thank you all for being here. That brings us down to item number 4, public comment. Is there anyone in the audience today by the raise of hand that would like to make a public comment? There are 2. Is 4 minutes sufficient? Thank you. Colin, you're up first.
Thank you, Council. This is likely my last council meeting. It's certainly my last council meeting in an official capacity. I might come back to visit you from time to time, but I've worked for the county for a little over 3 years. I have enjoyed almost every day of that. I've made some great friends and acquaintances and colleagues and so forth, and I appreciate county employees and county elected officials, both past and present. Grateful to have had the opportunity to work here. Let me put in a plug for my friend Nathan. I was on vacation in Europe a few weeks ago. They did interviews to fill my position, and when I talked to Scott Broadhead, they said, we hired a guy and he starts before you get back. So apparently it was not hard to fill my job. I'd never met Nathan before, but I've worked with him now off and on for about 3 or 4 weeks, and he's light years ahead of where I was when I started. So I think I'm leaving you in good hands. If you don't mind, can I make a couple of recommendations and or statements?
Be happy to hear it.
The 3 things I've learned most. First would deal with the transition in government. We've come a long way from a 3-member commission to a 5-member council, and we've had some growing pains along the way. I think we've made significant progress, but there is still more to do. There are still little ticks and bumps in the road that we need to resolve as we go forward, but congratulations on a job well done so far. Second, we've spent a lot of effort, not a lot, we've spent some effort and some time investigating the allegedly evil deeds of past commissions and past commissioners. So I think that's largely behind us. As outgoing civil counsel, there might be some of those that continue to pop up. We find every day that we don't have records, that we have an easement based on a handshake, and there's nothing in recorded, there's nothing in writing and so forth, and now we go back and we try to fix those things. But it might be time to let some of those other things go and to move on. You've got a lot of challenges ahead of you, a growing county, a growing budget. There are lots of issues to be addressed, and I wish you well as you do that. And finally, I'd like to say a word about civil litigation. When I came here under the theory and under the working theory that I would largely be involved with the Adobe Rock development and the LDS Temple development. And the voters did away with both of those things, and all of a sudden I found out I didn't have a whole lot to do. The 3rd prong of that was the transition in government. And all of a sudden, the developments got replaced with litigation. What I have determined over the last 3 years is that much of that litigation was a waste of time and money. Not much changed, if anything, as a result of that litigation. It divided members of this community. It still does to some degree. I think there's a better way to resolve our differences than filing lawsuits. And I'm not pointing out at any particular individual or groups, but hopefully we've all learned the lesson that that probably is not the best way to accomplish change. Thank you again.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate it. Darrell?
I have one thing I wanted to talk about, but before I do that, I just wanted to publicly express my appreciation to Colin. Since he arrived, I've been pretty involved in being in this room or downstairs, and he's been the utmost professional and unbelievably, effective at his job and at supporting this county and the citizens of this county. So just want to express my appreciation to Colin and everything he's done. It's I guess exciting for him to go to whatever he wants to next, and we support that. But I think it's sad for us to lose him. So just that. The other thing I wanted to say really quickly is I probably should have calculated, but I think it's probably 6 or 8 months ago, I came up here and just made a request, a reminder to the county that we need to do something with the PUD ordinance or with the PC zone, chapter 31 for the county. A year prior to that, I stood up and asked for the same thing, so I think this will be my third time probably in a 24-month period. We don't have anything in the county ordinances that allow us to do any large-scale or any mixed-use planning. There's just nothing in the ordinance that allow that. The PC zone does, but it has one issue that we need to fix, and that is it requires a sewer system to use that ordinance. And a lot of the ground that is under the county's responsibility now is not feasible to tie into a sewer system. And so I think we need to just tweak that ordinance just with that to say if it's within so far of a sewer system we tie in, or just something so that we can use that chapter 31 a little further afield, but still in county responsibility. The other option would be is to do the PUD. Well, it's probably almost 4 years ago. I think January will be about 4 years ago since the county repealed the PUD ordinance, and the commitment was made then that, oh, we're gonna repeal it, but we'll instantly put a new one back in, and here in January, February, will be 4 years from that. So we just need something to be able to do some planning. When I was here probably the year and a half ago, I said, we have some stuff we wanna bring before the county. Hopefully, we're getting closer to that, but we need one of those or something similar that allows us to do some larger scale mixed use planning. So just another request. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Chair recognizes Councilman Hoffman. Turn on your mic, Councilman.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we move two agenda items, item 5 and 10A, to the next meeting.
Is there a second to Councilman Hoffman's motion?
5 and 10A.
I'll second that.
I guess it's 5A and 10A.
Motion made by Councilman Hoffman, moving 5A and 10A, seconded by Councilman Stromberg.
Say that out loud.
What our ordinance requires is that we make the disclosure publicly in a public meeting, which we've done in the work meeting tonight. There will be a notice in the newspaper tomorrow, and then the public hearing has to occur 2 weeks after that. So the appropriate time to have the public meeting is actually October 10th.
Okay. Hearing a motion from Councilman Hoffman, a second from Councilman Stromberg. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing none, or hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those may oppose say nay. Those are moved. That will bring us down to minutes for August 15th, 2023. The work and business, business meeting minutes. Is there any additions, corrections, or additions to it? If not, then Chair to entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas to approve, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Hearing a second from Councilman Hoffman. Any further discussion or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose, say nay. Now let's bring us down to number 7, consent agenda. The check registry is online. You have every opportunity to go online and look at those over. Chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Hearing a motion for approval of the check registry. Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Stromberg. Any further discussion or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those that may oppose say nay. That is approved. Now let's bring us down to contracts, replacement of the walking floor trailer, solid waste. Mr. Wayne Anderton.
Good evening, council. Is there any questions from the previous meeting about the replacement trailer?
Any comments or questions? We're down one, so we need one. And Chair would entertain a motion.
Make the motion, we approve the contract for the walking floor trailer.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Stromberg, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay.
Thank
It
you.
passes. That will bring us down to B. And Rachelle Custer's here to answer any questions. Proposed contract for Burmester Road improvement. Is there any further discussions or comments? You have a date on this? When they'll,
The work is to begin this fall. For the
this fall?
pre-construction engineering services is what this contract is. It should be constructed fall of '24, spring of '25.
24 and then 25, spring of 25. Thank you. If there's not any other questions, Chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the engineering for the contract for Burmester Road improvements.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Hearing a second from Councilman Hoffman. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those that may oppose say nay. That passes unanimously. That will bring us down to the juvenile court legal defender agreement that our county attorney, Scott Broadhead, discussed. Is there any other questions or comments? If not, the chair would entertain a motion.
Make the motion that we approve the contract for the legal defender.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Stromberg, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay. Ayes have it unanimously. Now bring us down to the contract with Western Valley for Stucco repairs. Jason Sparks.
Good evening again. I'm here all night. So this is a contract with Western Valley Stucco to redo the stucco on the exterior of the building.
Jason, do you have a date on that? When that will, mid-October, is that when it's saying is
So
this
we-
October?
Yes, we had a completion date of October 13th. They asked if they could extend that 2 weeks. So I believe it's the first part of November.
27th on the contract.
Is it? Okay. He actually called me this afternoon to see if this was approved yesterday. And I said the meeting was tonight. They're ready to start. They're gonna start on the north side tomorrow. So they're getting going on this.
Okay. Chair and entertain a motion.
So moved.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Hoffman, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Stromberg. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay. Yeah, passes.
Thank you.
He can start tomorrow then. The Great Western Irrigation for the playground at Deseret Peak. Any further discussions or comments on that? Then Chair would entertain a motion.
So approved.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Thomas, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Stromberg. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those that may oppose say nay. Sounds unanimous on that one. Now it brings down to F, the 2023 moratorium between the Tooele County and the Settlement Canyon Irrigation Company. Is there any other discussions or questions? Andy, I'm sorry, I saw your head shake. I didn't know if you had a question. Okay, then Chair to entertain a motion.
Make the motion, we approve the contract or the memorandum between Tooele County and the Settlement Canyon Irrigation.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Stromberg, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Hoffman. Any further discussions or questions? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those who may oppose say nay. Sounds unanimous. That'll bring us down to number 9. That is resolution and ordinances amending, increasing the 2023 budget. Alison McCoy.
Council, we have 3 budget adjustments for you tonight. They are all grant-based budgets. 2 of our budget adjustments are from the Emergency Services or EOC Department. The first one is for fire radio grant they received for $9,866. The next one that they have is for their Homeland Security grant for $2,002. And then the last one we have is for our Weeds Department. They received an additional $9,000 for their Utah Department of Agriculture grant. Any questions on those ones? Okay.
No.
Questions?
Free
Chair
money.
to entertain a motion.
So moved.
You have to,
Excuse me, we need to have a public
Oh.
hearing, so Chair to entertain a motion to open up public hearing.
So moved. Again.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Hoffman, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Stromberg. All those in favor, open up public hearing on the 2023 budget, say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose, say nay. We have a public hearing is now open. Anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this, could you please raise your hand on the increasing the 2023 budget, Tooele County? Seeing none, the chair to entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
Hearing a motion to close public hearing from Councilman Stromberg, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those that may oppose. Public hearing is now closed. Now the chair to entertain a motion for approval of amending and increasing the 2023 budget, Tooele County.
So moved.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Hoffman, is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. Is there any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those that may oppose say nay. Passes. Thank you. That brings us down to 9B, ratifying the creation of Oquirrh Point Public Infrastructure District. Is there any, Nathan? Oh, did you have any other comments on that? No? Is there any comments or other questions, council? Or from the manager's office? No? Then chair to entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we adopt resolution 26.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Wardle to adopt resolution. Is there a second?
I don't think it's resolution 26. Oh, yes, it is.
Ratifying the resolution.
I'll second it.
Hearing a second from Councilman Hoffman. Is there any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay.
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 Roll call.
We need, thank you. We'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Wardle, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Hamner votes aye. Councilman Strungberg.
No.
Councilman Hoffman.
Aye.
Councilman Thomas.
Nay.
That is 3-2. It will pass. That will bring us to C, amending the policy governing the application and reviewing process for public infrastructure district. Is there any other questions or comments on this? Council? No? Then Chair to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Hearing a motion from Councilman Hoffman. Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second from Councilman Thomas. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay.
Nay.
Hearing a nay, that'll bring us up to a roll call. Councilman Thomas, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Hoffman, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Strungberg, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Hamner votes aye. Councilman Wardle, how do you vote?
Nay.
That is a 4-1 vote. That will pass. That will bring us down to number D, which is rezoning the 82.18 acres from RR5 to MG. That will bring up Rachelle.
Rexhale is requesting that we rezone 82 acres by the Tooele County landfill off of SR 36 to MG. It is currently zoned RR5. He recently rezoned a portion of his property to MG and is just requesting at this point that we rezone the remaining property.
Will you explain what MG is again for the public?
Yes, it's manufacturing. There's much broader things that are more cohesive with the area that can be done in an MG than an RR5.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, Chair to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Here, a motion from Councilman Thomas. Approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Here, a second from Councilman Strumberg. Any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose say nay. That passes unanimously. Thank you. If you don't mind staying there, thank you. E, rezone of 322.50 acres from an MU-40 to an MG and an MG-EX. And
Thank you, Chairman and council members. Sorry, go ahead.
thank you, go ahead.
Okay. Randy Hunt is requesting a rezone from MU-40 to, oh, sorry, I'm trying to read Trish's notes. MU-40 on one parcel to MG and another parcel to MG-EX. So MG is manufacturing general, MG-EX is mining, quarry, sand, and gravel excavation. The current zoning is not compatible with the area. The new zoning request is compatible with the surrounding uses.
So no matter what, you have to approve, if you vote on this, you have to do an MU-40, or excuse me, MG and MG-EX.
Yes, that is the application before you for those two different parcels.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, council? Seeing none, then Chair to entertain a motion.
Make the motion that we approve ordinance 19 with the rezone.
Hearing a motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Hearing a second from Councilman Hoffman. Is there any further discussions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those that oppose say nay.
Nay.
Okay. Call for a roll vote. Call. Councilman Hoffman, or excuse me, Councilman Thomas, how do you vote?
Nay.
Councilman Hoffman, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Stromberg, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilman Hamner votes nay. Councilman Wardle, how do you vote?
Nay.
It does not pass. That will bring us down to council updates. Councilman Thomas, do you have some updates?
I do. A couple of things I'd just like to, again, thank Bucky for all his work on getting those culverts put in Soldier Canyon. The other one I acknowledge is, was down to Bryce Canyon to a UAC conference. Andy and Ty and myself was there, and several, Tooele County got recognized by other county councilmen, commissioners, about the good work we're doing with our CJC and moving forward. Most of the counties have not moved forward on that. And then the one I was excited about was Commissioner out of Davis County, Kamala, can't remember her first name right now. But anyhow, she says, you ought to go to Tooele County and see their new resource center. So in October, I talked to Christy Johnson, and that they're gonna be opening up, they're gonna have an occupancy permit, they'll be able to do a show and tell meeting, and so I'd love to send out an invite to everybody in UAC to come out and see the good things we're doing. So we're being recognized, and it goes back to that saying I said earlier, we can do everything, we just can't do it all at once, but we're moving the needle. And then finally, I'd like to say thanks to my good friend Colin for the great friendship, for your wisdom, insight, and your humor to be able to move us along in great times when we've done so much and yet so much to accomplish. So thanks. I'm going to recruit you to help me work at the food bank, though. That'll be our first volunteer together. So thank you.
Councilman Hoffman. Thank you, Councilman Thomas.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. Sorry, I may have to clear my throat again. So several weeks ago, we had the Wendover Air Show, not the Reno Air Show. I'll get to that in a minute. And I don't remember if I mentioned that I met with a guy named Ted Oxborough out there at that, who has been working with Jim Peterson about the future of that. Ted Oxborough, he started the museum over in Saipan, the World War II museum over in Saipan, and ran that for a while. And then it was kind of ordered to shut down by the government over there, and he donated a lot of the things from that museum to our museum. And, you know, Jim's getting ready to retire and wants to keep that thing up and running and looking to the future on how to do that and stuff. And he's been working with Jim and his company because that's the kind of stuff that they do. Just an FYI on that, okay? Then last week down at Bryce, or the week before last, was down at Bryce Canyon. There was the UAC board meeting, and there was 3 things that came out of that I wanted to update you guys on. One is they talked about the importance, sorry, I have something in my throat. The importance of election integrity. There's a system out there called ERIC, and they are asking for continued support in that, and they are pushing for all elected officials to make this a bigger issue because it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue all the time, especially with the public. As you guys know, at some of our conventions we've been to, there have been the protesters there in regards to that. And Tracy, can you talk a little bit more about what ERIC is and how that works? I asked her to do that in my update just briefly, just to give a 1 or 2 minute update on what that is.
Yeah, ERIC is a very powerful tool that county clerks use on a weekly basis at a minimum, where we're comparing not only our data against our own data across the state, meaning that we're using that to keep our voter records and rolls clear and clean. For example, we might be looking for voters that are duplicate registrants. It's checking against, personal information, birthdays, socials, names. We're talking driver's licenses, addresses, everything. And it helps us to keep our voter registration list clean and clear. Not only do we compare against our own data in the state, but it also we compare data across state lines for other states that are also members of this this data sharing program. it's a powerful tool that I would definitely encourage us to continue using, and so I'm really grateful for UAC's support in doing so. That work?
Yeah, and it's apparently if the other states don't participate in it, we can't check or verify things in those states. Like a lot of democratically run states don't use it for whatever reason. That just isn't, kind of seem to be more red states use it versus blue states, so.
Indeed, I think it's a great thing, and I would hope that more states join, but even if states do choose to leave it, I still feel like even if we're using it solely for the purpose of verifying our own data across county lines, that it's helpful and beneficial to us as a state.
Okay. The other thing too is the board voted to increase the UAC fees a little bit, about 2.5%. So our UAC fees will be going up about 2.5%. And with that, they're gonna bring on a new position. They've already brought on Alex. He's a guy that's gonna help with legislative issues. And they wanna bring on a public lands person as well. And they've also hired a law firm to help with SB 174, and maybe we are already up to date and up to code on that with what's got to be done by February 1st. If not, are working with a law firm called KCJR to help counties get SB 174 updated. That's got to be done by February 1st. Colin, you might know I was going to ask you about that earlier, but when I went to talk to you about it, you weren't there. So we have to have, with SB 174, we have to do some work on our ordinances or codes before February 1st and have it updated. And if we want, they've got a law firm that will help us. Andy, you were there for those discussions as well. And then the next thing that was talked about a little bit was that public lands facility that we've set money aside for. As I mentioned earlier, we were the first state where all counties agreed to do that. Montana has also got all 100% of their counties. NACO is trying to get every state to do it, but that's probably not going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then they're going to push for WIR, to have WIR states involved in doing that. And if not all of the WIR states want to do the public lands facility, then they will work on doing an agreement between the states that do want to do it. And so that is still alive. And as we get into budget discussions, they're looking to make sure that all the counties still support that and put the money aside or send it to UAC for that. Colin, wanted to say thanks to you as well for all that you do and have done. Appreciate it. And learned a lot from you, and it's been great working with you. The other thing too is I want to give a little bit of an update on the Reno Air Show. I've got a ton of notes on it, but there was a lot that happened there. It didn't end great because obviously most people know that there was a mid-air collision and 2 pilots died the last day and they canceled the races. But there was about 6 different other municipalities there that are bidding on it. And I think we've got as good of a chance as any of them, but they did mention that they are giving us another 10 days if we want to make some improvements or changes to our RFP if we would like. So we can, I talked with Andy a little bit about that, and so we're gonna maybe make a couple of additions and adjustments to our RFP. The other thing too is they mentioned that they may not be able to get it selected as quickly as they would like or intended. It may be the first quarter of next year. But I'm guessing there was probably 100,000 people there on the Saturday and Sunday days. It was just packed to the hilt. And that is kind of my update. Andy may touch on it a little bit more.
Thank you, Councilman Hoffman. Appreciate your update. Councilman Stromberg.
Just really quick, I want to, again, over the last year, thank Colin for all he's done. It's been great to work with you, and thank you for all your efforts. Also, just kind of following up on the Reno Air Show is interesting. I had a couple people reach out to me in the aviation community, and one sent me a YouTube video with the CEO of our, and talking about the future, and they mentioned there were 6, but there was nothing, they didn't specify who the 6 were. But reading through the comments and why these folks had reached out to me is some of the comments were Wendover, which I thought was interesting because it didn't mention it all. But they were asking, is this, really happening? So I think locally there is some interest in it coming here and to Wendover from the aviation community. So
There is, there's a lot of
yeah.
it.
So
Thank you. I'll forego mine. Councilman Wardle?
I've got 3 items. First, there's a public meeting on Thursday. Oh, thank you. There's a public meeting on Thursday, and unfortunately, I will not be able to attend it regarding the Mid-Valley Highway. And I don't often say this to elected leaders, but we need a call to action. We need as many elected leaders in that meeting as possible to give our opinion on the Mid-Valley Highway. I'll have a phone call tomorrow. Andy's already reached out, but we're starting to see some wavering on the state level for this and on the funding mechanisms. We need to show that that's important. And so it's Thursday.
Can I piggyback on that? So if you go on Mid-Valley Highway, if you just Google that, the online public hearing is Tuesday, September 26th. The in-person public hearing is Thursday, September 28th. So
we've got a week.
We have a week. That's at the Tooele Police Department. That's at 6 o'clock.
But I do think that we need to show as much support from as many elected public subdivisions as possible. Whether it's online next Tuesday, a week from this week, or next Thursday. And that's going to become important as we talk about infrastructure and everything else, because if we start to see shifting in funding priorities, it only delays the solutions that will prevent and mitigate the problems of commutes. And they are serious. And so the second thing is I want to congratulate Tracy on an election well run, and her staff. I had the chance to be part of the audit yesterday. And I normally don't like audits about anything. I just want you to know that. I was raised from an accountant and an auditor. It just was my life. And he was a great man, and he had an attention to detail. And as I watched what Tracy and her staff did to provide election integrity, I have no doubt we are in good hands. And there should not be a question in our county. The third is Colin. You are going to be missed. And your wisdom tonight was fantastic. I often look at people who are change agents, and I like to study them, those that I agree with and those that I disagree with, because at the end of the day, they both provide change. And you and I have certainly agreed and disagreed at different times. But one of the things I've appreciated from an attorney, and I know that we'll make attorney jokes, and I've been one to really throw those out. An attorney is a counselor. And Colin has provided counsel to us throughout our 2.5 years that has not only guided a transition in government that was already fundamentally difficult, but we have avoided some of the things you've talked about. And your wisdom in helping us understand not only decorum, but ethics and how we should behave as elected leaders has been wonderful. Carlton Christensen, who's on the UTA board, his brother is one of my favorite authors. He's a Harvard business professor who has passed away. He's the father of innovation, disruptive innovation. And he wrote this, and I thought it epitomized you. I'm just going to share it. He said, if we can't see beyond what's close by, we're relying on chance, on the currents of life to guide us. Good leaders, counselors, help people steer to good decisions, not just in business, but in life too. Thank you for how you've steered us. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Councilman Wardle. Andy, any updates from the manager's office?
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. As Ty mentioned about the races, they were very forthcoming. We had, I'm not sure how many meetings that we had that they set up for us to show us all aspects of the races, which was very appreciated. And we met with the other cities that are applying as well, and so it was good to kind of meet them and to see the strengths and weaknesses that we all have. And so they did a great job making sure we understood how things ran, and it's quite an event. So that was, and I think they have 1,200 volunteers that help out during the races. It's amazing, the kind of the tight-knit family they have that help put this together. And I think they did tell us, well, what happens if it moves? Well, I think they had a significant amount, I don't know if it was 80 or 90%, planned on volunteering, 70% plan on volunteering wherever they go. And so that was good to see. One more thing on the Mid-Valley Highway, just as we mentioned the dates on that, you can also get online now. They have the Environmental Assessment Volume 1 and 2. The 2 now has the layout, and so you can see where that follows throughout the valley. And then if you are very ambitious, you can read the appendix. It's 711 pages long, but UDOT is very, very thorough, so we appreciate all the work they put in so far in getting us to this point. Then finally on Colin, we'd just like to thank him for all he's done for us as well from the staff. He puts on a good party when he leaves, and so if you want to leave again, we would enjoy another party just like that one. So thanks so much, Colin, for everything. You're a great friend, and we'll miss you, but we know where you live, so we'll stop by and see you. Thanks, Colin.
I live in Brittany's neighborhood.
There you go. Wonderful. That brings us down to,
One last thing, could you send a meeting link, on the Mid-Valley Highway, so we can have it?
yep, it'd be wonderful. Chair and entertain a motion to adjourn. We do. Is there a second?
Reluctantly, I offer my second. I just want to stay in here.
Here in a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those that may oppose? Thank you. We're in close.